So what I want to do is I want to share with you a 3-step plan in order for you to be able to know the goals that you're going after and also understand that you're not going to have to work as hard as you may need to in the beginning to ultimately achieve that goal and hold on to it, hopefully, for the rest of your life. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We're here today on our brand new Mindset and Motivation Monday. So good to have you here. I want to tackle a topic today that I think most of us can relate to. And it's really finding that balance between going all in on our goals and at the same time potentially burning out. Meaning, like, whenever we set a goal, we set a vision for ourselves. It's a life maybe that we don't have right now that we want to though have, that we want to step into that new person that we need to become. How do we know that we're able to achieve the goal? How much work needs to be put in? Will it burn us out in the long run? Are we going to be able to sustain that lifestyle and maybe everything that it takes with it or not? All right, so let's dive right into the show. For those, of course, that want to hang out, want to check out the show notes page and 3 big takeaways, head on over to stephencabral.com/2957. That's today's show note. And what I want to share with you right now is that it is not abnormal, I think especially for our community as well, to set big goals for yourself, to have greater dreams that you want to achieve, maybe something that isn't even within your realm of thinking as to how you may be able to achieve it in the future, and that's okay. You're not supposed to figure out every single minute detail before you get started. It's also not your job to know all of the hows in order for you to dream up a bigger life for yourself. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that you should bypass steps A, B, C, and D. It doesn't mean that. But it does ultimately mean that you need a North Star, that you need a goal that is large enough to keep you motivated, waking up in the morning, wanting to get after the day, wanting to start your day and move through all of the different action items you need in order to become the person who does the things that deserves that goal, right? That's deserving of that goal. And we've done a separate podcast on that because trust me, after a certain period of time of you putting in the work, you are going to feel deserving. And one of the reasons why a lot of people don't get to their goals is because they don't feel deserving, but they're also not putting in the work. The other side of this equation, though, is how do you know that you're not going to burn out from all this extra work that you may have to put in? Let's break that down right now. So the first part is this, is you want to set your goal, right? What is that goal going to be? Now, it might be a huge goal, right? And we're going to talk about that today, and I'm going to give you an example. But let's say it's a goal, I want to lose 100 pounds. Okay, if your goal is to lose 100 pounds and replace whatever big goal it is, a new career, a new relationship, it could be getting your health back, autoimmune issues, could be anything. Insert whatever that big goal is. You have to understand is that before you get to that end goal, let's say 100-pound weight loss, it's just easy kind of for us to think about, you're going to have to lose 20 pounds. You're going to have to lose 30 and 40 and 50 and 60. Like, you're going to have to hit all of those milestones. So that's important to understand, is because you don't need to lose 100 pounds. No, not yet. Not when you're setting these milestones, right? You know your end goal. The North Star is to lose 100 pounds. Let's say you weigh 280 pounds. You want to get down to 180 pounds, whatever your goal may be. Okay, that's the North Star. Get rid of your autoimmune issues, your Hashimoto's, your rheumatoid arthritis, etc. Great. But before you do that, there are going to be steps along the way. And so what I want you to think about is, for you, every 20 pounds or every 15 pounds might be a milestone, depending on how successful you've been in the past. So what we're going to do is we're going to say North Star, 100 pounds, but for us, every 20 pounds is a new milestone. And keep that in mind because it's going to be important in just one moment. So then what we're going to think about is based on that goal. So the first goal is 20-pound weight loss, right? Because we don't need to worry about losing 100 pounds. Because if we lose 20, and then another 20, and then another 20, and then 2 more 20s, we're going to hit our goal. So what we want to do is focus on the 20, much more achievable, right? If you want to become a certified health coach, what do you need to do? Like, oh, well, I've got to get through these 11 modules, and they each take about 3 hours or so. And okay, well, you have to get through one module, and you can do that every week to maybe 2 weeks. And so all you need to focus on, first milestone is the first module, and you have 11 total milestones. And so all you're trying to do is get through a module, let's say per week. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to lose 20 pounds. Like, that might be our goal as we're just discussing right now. So now we need to think about, well, what's the work that's going to be needed? Okay, well, Let's just start with the basics. If you don't exercise, we're going to exercise. How many days? More days than not, right? So now we're not thinking about the goal per se. We know what the goal is, but now we're thinking about goals don't typically just achieve themselves by themselves. They achieve themselves through action. So in our body transformation, what we're going to do is we're going to line up 5 days a week of exercise. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is going to be off, and then Friday, Saturday. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so that's now our plan. Now what we're going to say is, what are we going to do in those days? Okay, well, each day, because we need to lose 100 pounds, not just the last 5 pounds or 10 pounds, what we're going to do is we're going to say we're going to do 30 minutes of weight training and 30 minutes of cardio. Now, if that's too much for most people, totally understand. It can be 30 minutes of walking. Like that's all right. So we're going to do that. And the weight training, one day can be strength, one day can be more high intensity interval training, or if it's someone just starting out, body weight training. Great, not a problem. Like that's okay. That's what we're going to do. And so that's what we're going to focus on. So it's that 1 hour a day for you, not counting your nutrition, but remember, I always say with nutrition, you're probably already eating 3 meals a day. So it's more just a trading this for that, because we're going to be able to eat out in a healthy way. We're going to be able to eat in, ordering, or making your own food in a healthy way. But everybody needs to eat. People typically do eat. We're just going to change it up a little bit. But the exercise might be a new thing. So then what we're going to say is, okay, well, when are we going to do those exercises, right? When are we going to do that 1 hour? And you might say, well, can't find 1 hour straight. Maybe, right? Maybe you can. I think most people can wake up 30 minutes earlier, go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Not everyone, I get that, but most people. And so that might just give you back a little time in the morning. Or we say, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do our workout first thing in the morning where it can't be thrown off. And then we're going to do a 30-minute walk after dinner. Fantastic. Now we have our 60 minutes there per day. We've just broken it up. Okay, so now we know we have our nutrition, we have our exercise. Of course, you've heard me talk about this before. It's not always calories in, calories out, but at least we're going to start there. Certainly we can lose our first 20 pounds that way, okay? So then number 3 is going to be, though, because this is where we can't burn out. Because if we're thinking, well, I don't know if I'm going to do this the rest of my life. I don't know if I lose the 20 pounds, what if I have to do more? We don't need to think about that yet, right? Remember, we have to get through this first milestone before we can worry about milestone number 2 and milestone number 3, and life can change, and that's okay. But what we want to think about is, in order to put our minds at ease, we need to think about not just outline our actions and the work that we may need to put in. Because remember, if you want a different life, most likely you need to change some of the things that you're currently doing in this life right now. So in order for us to get a different result, we need to put a different input into the equation, right? So if we want a different model of success, we need to change the actual actions of today, because the actions of today lead to the actions of tomorrow, and they accumulate for the actions of the week, which leads to our results each and every week. And that leads to, of course, our months and our years. So it has to be different input, okay? It doesn't have to be more, but it has to be different typically in order to get a different result. Now, at the same time, though, we want to look at how do we build in our play or our time off, or just the ability to enjoy some of the foods that you used to enjoy before, right? I think that's really important. So here's exactly how we do it. We do 21 days of what we call fat velocity, and that's a system that helps you with the nutrition. So 21 days straight. You're going to get big results, going to help to change that body. I want to talk about that in just a second, because you can't just build in those cheats or those days off or anything like that right away with any of your goals. I'm going to explain that in just 1 minute. And then after that, though, after that 21 days, we can actually enjoy a flex meal once a week. And so that enables you to say, oh, I love pasta, I love bread, I want to have a couple of drinks with my friends. All right, 1 meal per week, that's what we do. And you might say, but I want it to be more than 1 meal a week. That's when we have to start to ask ourselves, what do we want more? Do we want the body transformation and the health that comes along with it? Or do we want those cheat meals, flex meals, etc. more? We've got to think about that. And I want to share with you, I think, not just an interesting anecdote, but this is real life. Everything is more challenging in the beginning. So it's actually more difficult to get results in the beginning and more difficult to retain them and maintain them than it is after months of doing it. So let me give you an example. If you are following a body transformation program and on average you lose 2 pounds per week, so you're losing 8 pounds or so every 4 weeks, and every 2 months or so, that's about what, 16 to 18 or so pounds. Great. So it takes you just a little over 2 months or so to be able to lose that 20 pounds. And again, it's going to happen much faster in the beginning, but that's why we set milestones, right? So you can easily lose, believe it or not, that first 20 pounds in month one if you had 100 pounds to lose. Like, you can absolutely do that. We do that routinely with clients. And we just do a 21-day detox followed by the maintenance from that, or the 21 days of fat velocity, like whatever people want to do. But it's typically 21 days of the Equal Life Detox, flex meal, and then go into 21 days of fat velocity, and then into phase 2 of fat velocity. And anyway, that's how we do it. So if people really want to look in depth. But this is more about mindset rather than the how-to. But you have to understand is that when you're trying to get well, when you're trying to lose weight, when you're trying to study for school, any of these things, you probably realize this. Maybe thinking back, you'll remember it right now. It's tough to get out of that summer vacation mode and go back to school. It's hard to start going to the gym again. It's hard to start eating well. But once you do it for a few weeks, and definitely a few months, you build up momentum. And also inside of your body, you begin to change your metabolism. That means in the future, when you have a flex meal, you may see no change at all in your body or on the scale. Very, very little if you're weighing yourself. You don't have to weigh yourself, but very little after 24 hours. But in the beginning, if you have yeast overgrowth, candida overgrowth, or you're trying to lose weight, if you have a flex meal and it's within the first week, it could ruin all of your results. It really can. That's why we want 21 days straight, and then only once a week until you start to really make momentum. And then after 12 weeks, typically you can do you can do twice a week, and that's not going to mess you up in terms of your flex meals. So you have to understand is that you have to give your body and your mind time to adapt to your new goal. And then here's the other fun thing about it, is that it does not feel like new work. It feels like you've always been doing this. If you schedule a time to work out in the morning and you stick to that, you're 5 days a week. After 3 or 4 months, definitely 6 months, you're gonna say like, I don't remember a time really not working out and doing this. Your body adapts, your mind adapts, which means this, it does not feel like extra work. In the beginning, it feels like extra. Extra takes more effort in both mind and body, and oftentimes it's more difficult for the mind than it is the body. The body can usually do the work. Most people don't have the Addisons disease or the maybe fibromyalgia or other things like that, but the mind holds us back because saying, I don't want to put in the work. I don't want to do this. And that is really what you are trudging through for those first 21 days, maybe those first 6 weeks. It does get easier. As Sisyphus pushed that rock up the mountain every single day only for it to roll back down, we have to understand is we are not cursed to do that. And in life with these milestones, what we're going to find is that there are ledges. And so you push the rock up, it feels like a challenge, but then there's a ledge and you can push the rock onto it. So now you can actually take a breather. You can enjoy your flex meal, maybe even twice a week. And believe it or not, we always told clients this, after you've been doing this, for 4 to 6 months, you could take a week off from exercise and you're not going to gain it all back. That's that milestone. That's that ledge where you can actually step back. Now, should you take 2 weeks off? Should you take 3 weeks off? No, because then you've undone a lot of that work you put in. Then you just have to get that work back. That's the rock rolling down the hill. Don't do that. But you are able to take a break, typically for most people, every 12 weeks or so. So that's 4 times a year. And when I talk about the 12-week year, it's actually built in. There's a 13th week, right? So 12 weeks times 4 for the year in the 12-week year. If you've never heard about the 12-week year process, definitely check that out. You can go to stephencabral.com/podcast, just type in 12-week year or today's show, 2957, and we'll link it up for you. But listen to this part, because after every 12 weeks of kind of setting new goals, achieving new goals, it's not that you forget about the current goal that you're working on, but you give yourself a week. It's not a week off from everything, but it can be a little bit of a down week. In exercise, we call it an unloading week. You're still exercising, but maybe you're just having fun. You're going through the motions. You're doing new things. It doesn't always have to be, a grind. You're just taking a little time every 12 weeks or so to reset the mind, reset the body. Maybe you do a little bit more sauna that week. Maybe you go play basketball instead of your normal cardio, whatever it is. And so you're being active, but you're just giving yourself a little bit of a break. But here's the thing. People don't build that into their schedule. So you want to build in not just the work, You want to build in a little bit of the reset. So you say, oh, okay, I'm working all the way through January, February, and March. And then that first week of April, I'm going to take a little bit of an unloading week. You might already have a vacation planned. You might just decide like, oh, I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to do some swimming that week. I'm going to do some things that I don't typically get to do that aren't necessarily part of my program, right? Enjoy an extra meal out with friends, etc. So start to think about that, whether you're working on your career, you're working on that body transformation, you're working on it with your health. You can really take the foot off the gas every once in a while. There's no issues with that. But keep in mind that in the beginning, it is most important to get that momentum going, because in the beginning, it most feels like you're pushing a boulder directly up a hill with no assistance. Everything is more challenging. But once you get that rock moving, I'm telling you right now, you begin to get in a flow state. It's also why you don't have to purposely break that flow state, but do build in a little bit of downtime. That's why it's not 7 days a week of exercise. It's 5. And you give yourself a flex meal after that 21 days and then once a week in order to be able to say, oh yeah, that was good. You know what? But I'm ready to get back on my healthy diet. I actually feel better when I'm following that. So my takeaway that I want to share with you is this, is that you can achieve every goal you set for yourself in life. You really can. But don't leave your goals or life to chance. They aren't going to achieve themselves. They're just not. And if they are, it probably wasn't worthwhile. It's probably not going to give you the satisfaction that you're looking for. Set the goal, put in the work, enjoy yourself along the way. You will find that as you look back, you're like, oh, it feels like I've always done this. And then when you're ready, you can always begin to notch it up or notch it down a little bit in order to maintain your results or even hit greater and more desirable dreams. Hopefully today's show was helpful. I thank you as always for tuning into the show. Please do feel free to share the Cabral concept with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing start to the week. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.